And hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the one and only Glitch Vision 0101. I'm here with Blind PC Guy, and we're going to be talking Shadow in this nice collaboration video.
Shadow and cloud gaming in general. I think we decided it's going to be a two-parter. For those who don't know, part one is here on Glitch's channel, and it's a pleasure to be here and to hang out and have this discussion with him. Part two will be over on my channel, Blind PC Guy. So, make sure to check out both parts. You might check this out as part one. You might came from my channel. If you came from mine, I know Glitch is glad to have you as well.
Indeed. This is just some gameplay footage of Dauntless here in the background so that you can just listen as a podcast, or you can watch a blind guy stumble through the hunting grounds as we chit-chat about Shadow and where it's going and where it's been.
Definitely. And Glitch, you had some experience with Shadow. I don't know if you want to tell the story of how you got into cloud gaming through Shadow or anything?
I do, in fact, because if I didn't, our discussion wouldn't make much sense.
Right?
So, a few years ago, I had a 4th gen i5 with a GTX 730 at first.
Yeah.
That graphics card was absolute nothingness incarnate, and it could barely stream what I wanted to play. I was trying to find a way that I could stream all the games that I wanted to play for stream, and we got to talking, found out about Shadow from an LTT video.
Yeah, Linus Tech Tips, for those who are not informed.
Yep. And from there, Blind PC Guy was like, yo, you know what? I'm just going to get you a month of it. Consider it a Christmas gift. So he gets me a month of Shadow. I try it, and almost immediately I'm like, yeah, I'm paying for a sub to this. I'm buying this.
Yeah, and just going back a little bit, what started the conversation was me and a couple other friends of ours at the time. We're watching one of your streams, and you had, on Twitch at the time, and you had gotten front page time after a raid from a friend of ours. And
yes,
your stream was lagging, and people were kinda not the best, sport about it.
Yeah, they were like, if you're gonna pay for bots, why not just pay for a better computer?
Yeah, like, people were being ridiculous, and me and some friends were like, we gotta find a solution. And I don't remember who at the time said this, but they were like, have you seen the new Linus Tech Tips video, which I already had, of Shadow Cloud Gaming?
It was Tyler. Awesome moderator, wonderful member of my community.
Yeah, it was Tyler, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's when I was like, because at the time I was working, I'd barely been working, December 2018, so I had a job, I had extra income, and I was like, let's see if this helps him out.
Yeah, and he got it for me, and after that I was like, yep, mine. I don't know how I went without it for so long.
And you, eventually that PC, while you had Shadow, you upgraded to a GT 1030 for stream encoding, if I remember correctly.
Yes, I did.
Which was a pretty big upgrade.
Definitely a big upgrade.
Still not a very good card, but way better than the 730. I've used the 730, so I've got experience of that. And so, really, you ended up using Shadow for, what, from December of 18 until you got your PC probably January?
No, it was middle of 2020.
Oh, it was middle last year? Okay, yeah.
Yeah, middle of last year.
So let's probably around June or July. Let's just say July for reference.
Yep.
So you used Shadow as your daily from December of 18 to June of 20. And after that, you still used it off and on for a little bit. I know.
Yep.
And now you've moved over to fully gaming on a local PC.
Yes, I have, and I can't say that I'm not happy to have done so.
Yeah, Shadow was great, but if you haven't tried cloud gaming, there's latency, and network issues can crop up.
It's not as much it's about as much latency given your connection that you would see if you were using an HD TV as your monitor. But that's still more latency than some people want to deal with. And at the time, I was using an HD TV as my monitor, so I had double the latency.
Mm-hmm. It works surprisingly well. I'd recommend you guys to give it a month, but we really don't know the future of Shadow. So, for those who don't know, do you want to talk about what's been going on, or do you want me to bring it started up?
Well, they declared bankruptcy earlier this year.
Yeah, roughly what, January?
Something like that.
And the French courts got to decide who was going to buy them. And when you see that in the news, you know it's not going well.
Yup.
So, for those who don't know, just so they know the structure of Shadow, the original tier was just called Shadow, but then it was renamed Shadow Boost. And when Glitch started using it, it was like, what, $30 a month? And that got you a GTX 1080 equivalent Quadro card.
Yep.
A 12 gigs of RAM and a quad-core Xeon with 256 gig of SSD. About a year ago, year and a half, they started rolling out their Shadow Ultra and Infinite tiers, which have even better specs.
Yeah.
But
it was supposed to be an RTX equivalent card.
Yeah, the middle tier was an RTX 2080 equivalent, and the third tier was a Titan RTX, which is like a $3,000 card. Or it was yeah. And so basically, what we come to find out during all this is even before Shadow dropped the price of the base tier to $15 or $12 if you sign a year commitment, when it was $30, they were selling that hardware on a loss. Let alone, or the subscription at a loss, and not paying their loaners back.
Mm-hmm.
Let alone the Ultra and the Infinite subscriptions that were better. They were not profiting, and they were just borrowing money and getting more and more in the hole.
Lots of bad business decisions.
Mm-hmm. And the pandemic, of course, didn't help.
Of course not.
But still, that's not the reason. This would have happened with or without the pandemic.
Pretty much.
And honestly, the pandemic, I think, made it worse. Because you had that influx of hundreds of thousands of people wanting a gaming PC, not able to get one, and getting Shadow, and signing up on the list, and then their data centers were backed up, and they couldn't... they probably had enough people where they could have started turning a profit if they'd done it right. Because of the pandemic.
Yup.
And, but then we had everything just flip-flop, and it was like, well... when there's 6-month wait times, most people aren't going to sit and wait on that. Because I know one friend of mine signed up for Shadow, and he didn't get his for my cousin. He didn't get it till 8 months later. And then when he had a debit card issue where he had got a new card, Shadow shut off his service and already canceled his machine and wouldn't let him swap to his new card.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they already relocated it to somebody else.
Well, that's how bad they got. They had to.
Yeah. So anyway, with the whole bankruptcy, there was a few different parties wanting to buy Shadow. One was, I don't remember the dude's name, with Hub CI. And that they were the biggest party. But then there was a group that the Shadow community was rooting for, where some of the Shadow employees were trying to buy it, and we were hoping that they'd manage to get the bid and buy it. They were doing crowdfunding, raising the money, trying to keep Shadow, designed for what it's designed. But Hub CI owns it now, and that brings some interesting things into the future.
Yup.
Mm-hmm. So the biggest thing is, at the beginning when we originally planned this collab, we didn't know as much as we do now, so I'm kind of glad we ended up waiting and putting it off.
Me too.
But because when that first happened, all we knew was that Hubci and Blade were in conversation. For those that we hadn't mentioned, sorry, Blade's the leader, the company behind Shadow.
Blade Group. They're French,
Group.
If I do believe.
Yeah, they are. And there was a lot of questions, and all they would tell us at first is that they were talking with Hubci. And officially, Shadow still hasn't said much. We got a bunch of information in a Twitter thread with the owner of Hubci. And then Shadow sent an email out to customers, basically saying everyone in the US, if you're not on Boost, you're either going to get downgraded to Boost or the option to cancel.
Yeah, and that is super sad to me.
Mm-hmm. Because basically, from what we found out, any hardware that Shadow has bought since the middle of 19, I don't remember the exact month, has to be sent back to the original owner. They are not allowed to keep it because they were behind on payments and they have to turn back in hardware that's not theirs. And that's kind of a fucked up situation where you have people renting a machine from someone who is renting it, and they're just uprooting you out before your lease is over.
Mm-hmm. Thankfully, my lease ended already, so...
Which you were on Boost anyways.
I was, but I had extra storage, and what they did would have canceled my extra storage as well.
Ah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it most likely would have canceled my extra storage as well.
Oof. So, yeah, so this kind of leads us into the meat and potatoes of the discussion, because that's what's went on with Shadow, is where do we think that Shadow's going to be going?
I would like to say that they're going to go in a good direction, but given what a lot of people in the community say about Hub-IC or Hubic or however you want to pronounce it, I don't entirely think that's possible.
Mm-hmm. There was some information recently where they want to. It seems like they're going to try to keep Shadow's gaming side around, but they want to focus more on an office in the cloud.
You don't need super powerful hardware for Office in the cloud. I mean...
Right? Paperspace already does it.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, even that, without good graphics, is 10 times more expensive than Shadow. So I see a price hike coming.
Unfortunately, so do I. I don't want to admit it, but it's probably going to be that way.
And it's not going to be worth it for your general gamer. There are alternatives. There are alternatives for if you're a cloud gamer. Like if you were in your situation, now Glitch, looking into the situation, there are alternatives, and that's what the video over on my channel is going to go more into detail. Is the modern state of cloud gaming, and what are your other options?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Where you can go, what you can do.
Mm-hmm. And that's going to be a little more relevant to the current situation. But Shadow Blade Group, they did some awesome stuff. They used to be really big in the community. I think, Glitch, for a while there, you were even affiliated with them with an affiliate code, wasn't it?
I had an affiliate code. Every member who signed up for Shadow got an affiliate code. Yeah. The way it worked is if somebody used your referral code, then you got $5 off your next bill, and they got $5 off their first bill. So it was a great incentive.
But then you got partnered in their creators thing or something too, if I remember.
Yeah, they had a creator club that they started up near the end that I was very happy to work with. I was just there to answer questions and promote Shadow and try to get new people excited about the service, which I think I did a fairly good job at.
I mean, over time, I never kept it for a long period, but I know you got me to subscribe and several other friends. We ended up using it a lot. You got several people convinced to give it a shot.
At least to try it. They may not have stuck with it for a while, but at least they tried it.
Yeah, which Shadow was losing money in the long term on all that. What's what we didn't know at the time.
Exactly.
Which is the sad part, but yeah, do you really have anything else you want to say? Or I don't.
Other than I loved Shadow, I really did, and I'm sad to see it go.
And I do wish Hub CI and Blade Group a bright future. I would love to see something happen, and and it work out. The prices maybe go up a little, but not too high. Maybe make Boost $40 a month. If they could get something like that after new hardware, give us modern Xeons and RTX 3000 graphics.
That's the thing. If you try to upgrade Boost, like what it is now, if you try to raise the price on that, nobody's gonna buy it because it's not worth that.
The hardware is GTX 1080. We're on the 30s. We're 2 generations ahead. The Xeons are getting ancient. Like people, I don't know if you kept up with the community, but they were complaining about CPU limitations.
Oh no, I know. That's part of why I switched back over to local, because I feel those limitations.
Mm-hmm.
With certain games, I really feel those limitations.
Like loading in the universe when you're playing Elite.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, when you're playing on Shadow, it's badass. Like it was badass to fire up Skyrim with 200 mods and script extender and connect a Bluetooth controller to my iPad and play Skyrim while at my mom's house, heavily modded, and just kick back and enjoy. Or other friends had Apple TVs or Android TVs, and they had the Shadow app on them. And they could just, boot up Shadow like a console.
Mm-hmm.
And play their favorite PC titles. It had some awesomeness. And they even sold the Shadow Ghost and the Shadow Box before that. Which I think's been out of stock for a long time.
Oh yeah, you can never keep that in stock.
Yeah.
That sells out every single time.
I know at one point you wanted one, but I'm glad you didn't get it.
Yeah, I kind of am too.
Oh man, because now people are going to have little thin clients they can load Linux on, which they'll still be great for other cloud services. But
potentially, yeah.
Yeah, but we'll see. And man, it's just a sad thing because Shadow, they were just too early to the game.
And it's not so much that they were too early. They made a bunch of bad decisions in how they handled it. They tried to expand too quickly.
Yeah, like to me, what hurt them the most, that Linus Tech Tip video when they started that collab, and they let Linus come to their office and show them off. That got them too much traction, and then it just kept blowing up from there. I'm thankful for that video because that's what got you, Shadow. That's what informed us about it. And, skyrocketed your Twitch stream quality.
Mm-hmm.
Because games have gotten way more demanding in these past 2.5 years, and your system wouldn't be coping at all.
No, it wouldn't. That computer I used to have would have still been choking.
You would be at the point where games are running at like 10 FPS, if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Like the games you were playing when you swapped to Shadow were kind of end of the line.
Yup.
And even then, you couldn't stream a lot of them without it lagging, if I remember correctly. That was Elite that day you were playing.
Yup, it was either I play the game or I stream the game. I had a big issue doing both.
Yeah.
Either I play the game or I stream something. I couldn't do both.
And you had to be very careful on what you streamed because of the limitations.
Mm-hmm.
And for those of you wondering why didn't he just buy a better graphics card, because that i7's capable, because he was in a small form factor case, and there really wasn't, and he couldn't put a better power supply in. He was
exactly.
Like, if he had been in a fully AT, yeah. Go ahead.
Not only was it a small form factor case, but it was a proprietary Dell small form factor case.
Yeah. And the sad thing is, they have the full ATX models of the same model number that are fully ATX, but if you Google them online, they're the same model. They have the small form factor and the mid towers. Because I had one of the mid towers that was the same system for a while. And it's like, why do they go so proprietary on the small form factor, but then fully ATX upgradable on the mid tower? It's like kind of counterintuitive.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember my Optiplex that was similar. I took the power supply out, put a bigger one in, and I upgraded the graphics card. And that makes that i7 even today. If you're on a 4th gen i7 like that, it's capable. You're still held back a bit because it's only 4 cores.
You can still do stuff.
Mm-hmm. You can play modern games on a 4th gen i7.
You can stream modern games on a 4th gen i7 or i5, but it's the graphics card, and I didn't have room to upgrade their graphics card.
Because there was no low profile that didn't need, like, all the small cards that would have fit needed a bigger power supply than what he had. So Shadow was the best solution, and it was an awesome one. And I will say, I've got a lot of good memories of Shadow, and I know you do too. And for the years of it being what it was, I thank Blade for taking the loss for the team and allowing people to use it. I mean, I know it put them in a stickler situation now, but they believed in the mission and they thought they could get it turned around. It didn't pan out, but it gave tons of people the opportunity to try PC gaming, and not just try a game on PC like GeForce Now, but Windows, boot into it, install launcher, mod a game, go in and edit config files, the full experience. But you ain't modding your GeForce Now game.
Yeah.
You ain't installing custom custom shaders or the stuff we did to Elite to change the HUD color. You ain't doing that kind of stuff in GeForce Now to a game.
No, that's not happening.
But you could do that in Shadow. You could install a video editor and edit video.
So honestly, that's where I see Shadow being the most useful in the future.
Yeah.
Is with video editing. People that want a high-end video editing station that they can do away from home, outsourcing their video editing.
Yeah, and leave their local systems power. Because if you're a bigger production on YouTube or anywhere, even if Shadow's $100 a month, if you're bringing in quite a bit more than that, it wouldn't be that bad of an investment. Because for one, it's off-site backup if you buy enough storage for all of your footage. But yeah, I'm with you. That's probably where the future of Shadow could go, but I don't know how well Hub CI is going to do. I really figure it's going to be bad. But I wish them the best of luck, and I hope they can right the ship and keep it available for gamers at a reasonable price.
Even though I doubt it will, that's what I hope too.
I'm not gonna, I have my doubts, and I know you do, but we can still hope. And I figure, Glitch, you'll be following the story of Shadow 2, and we may update you guys on this in the future.
Definitely.
So maybe not in a dedicated video, but we do have podcast plans for eventually in the future.
Indeed we do.
So stay tuned for information about that whenever we get the ball rolling for that sector. So, Glitch, do you want to wrap up?
Sure. I've been the one and only Glitched Vision. Don't forget, do that whole like and subscribe thing that everybody keeps talking about.
And
I hope you come back, and I'll see you probably during my next stream or video, whichever happens to come first.
Or on my channel in the other half of the discussion. You don't want to hear part 1 and not hear part 2.
Exactly. You gotta catch part 2. You gotta catch part 2. So get on over there. It'll be linked in the description. Get on over there and go watch that. It'll be worth your time.
Have a good day, everybody. It was an honor to be on your channel today, Glitch, and of course we'll both be popping back and forth between each other all the time. So
it was great to have you.
Peace out, everybody.
Yep.
That went well.